Hello and welcome back to the Alteryx Weekly Challenge. Me and Big Nod. This is challenge number 113 and we are interpolating spatial grid values. Basically that means that we have a grid of numbers and that number's got some zeros in it which are, incorrect values. And actually what we should be doing is populating the zeros with the average of all of the numbers around it. Sounds simple? We'll see. So let's have a look at the start file. So in here we have a couple of input files. And this one is quite big, as you can see, and has a grid starting 1, 2, 3, 4 right across the top and down to 102 across the bottom and 150 across the top. Okay, and then we have a spatial object. Okay, and then over here we have the output, which is what we're expecting. Okay, so there's the grid. Okay, there's no spatial, it only goes to 49. Okay, so the rows across the top actually start at 0, and it says up here, hint, the grid cell 3768 is column 37, row 68. Okay, so we should be using that. It is a spatial challenge, so we should be using spatial. But first thing I think we need to do is create these rows and columns and rows. So let's start with that. Now in here I think what we can simply we can create the rows by adding a record ID. That's fairly straightforward. So I think we'll start with that. Row, and we'll start on 0 as it suggests we should do. Okay, so now we have the rows. Now the columns, I think what we can do is we can just generate some rows. I'll bring it down here, give us some space. We'll call it column, and we want to start from -1 because -1, and then we want to take column. So we'll take that field, and then we want it to go up to, was it 150? Yeah. Okay, no, 149, wasn't it? And then we want to that, and then in here we want to take that column and we want to +1. Okay, so that, run that, should generate our columns. Now if we want to take that column and turn it into a row, i.e. across the top, so we have lots of it, you can see it won't let us do it because we've only got one field and it needs 2. So I'm thinking we're going to create a field which is the same. So we'll call this dummy, and we'll just use the same in there. So that will give us, let's give it a make it an integer and then run that. Okay, so now we can in this tab, we can basically create it. Sum it, doesn't really matter. And therefore we now have them across the top. So what we can now do is union them together. So that what they'll do is insert one into the other, and we do it by position. So if we do position and we want to select, so we want to go in first, I think. There we go. See, we've now got the columns, and we've got this dummy data in the top, but that's perfectly fine. We can then just remove that with a sample. So we skip the first row, That'll give us the the format like this, I think. Yeah, so we've got the same format. Now the difference is we've got these zeros here, for example. So we need to work out what's the nearest one to this. And I'm thinking if we create these as, these rows and columns as spatial objects. So we have to transform it again, but this time to bring all of the data in. So we're going to have to put it from columns to rows. Now we need the rows, we'll just run that down. And all to create is an awful lot of rows, 15,000, but now we have the coordinates as is of each of the values. Okay, and you can see this 10 here has got so the coordinates of 0, 10 has got some values around it. So I'm thinking that we take that, we can rename, so just rename name to column, just so we know. We make this an integer, does it matter? I don't know, we'll see, we'll make it anyway. And then what we can do is bring in a spatial and create a point for each one. So if we, I think it's column, latitude, row for latitude. What does that do? Does that do it very well? No. Right. I think we do it as integers. Yes, because they're integers, right? Okay, now we've got a point for every. We stick a browse on the end of that. We can see what it looks like. It's going to not look. It's going to look very small. Okay, right. But if we zoom in, we can see the individual points. Okay, for the grid. Now we need to work out what's close to it. So which ones are close to each other? Actually, no. All we need to do is work out which ones are close to the 0 ones. Yeah. So all we need to do, let's filter out the 0 ones. So that will give us. So if the value equals 0, that will give us just the 0 ones, and then we can bring in the spatial find nearest. Okay, and if we bring in this data from from here, we can then, so it's the centroid to the centroid. Now we want what was it? It's 500 meters. So let's do 0.5, and we want to find it could be up to 8 different ones around. Yeah, so let's run that and see what we get. Okay, so on this first one, we should actually, because this is on the edge, it should only have 5. Okay, we've got distances. Actually, if we do distance in kilometers, it's 5. Oh, we want to ignore the zeros, I think, as well. Yes, we want to, because we've got the 0 one, we don't need those. So, actually, does it matter? Maybe not. Probably should remove the ones. Okay, so we've still got more than, so we've got 8 being picked up, but these are twice the distance of these. Oh look, and the coordinates 2, 0 to 10. So it's quite a long way. So actually we want the distance isn't 0.5, it's 0.000157. Let's do that. 0.0002 should be fine. Okay, and that will give us, here we go, the 5 around that one, and on this one we've got 11. What have we got? 11. Oh, 8. No, it's 8. It's weird. Okay, so that's oh yes, so that's 8, and then this one's 8. Okay, so that's the 8 points around each one. So that means we can now take Summarize Tool and group by the column and the row, and then take this universe value, is that what it is? Universe value, and average it. So if we go to average it, that will give us an average, okay, for each of the coordinates we had in the original, which is here. So we can now join, we can now join on these coordinates. So let's bring this over here, and we bring that, so that's the main data set, and then this is what we want to bring in as the values. So if we join on row and join on column, we don't need the right rate, and then we'll have this average double. So let's run that. Okay, so we've got all of that joined, so we just need to union in. I'm wondering if we just change that to value and then union it in. Yeah, we did that. So we just change, we could just use a select actually. You could just copy it, but if we unclick this and we put that and we call it value. If I could get it right, there we go, value. Alright, and then if we union, no, I've got the union already there. Yeah, let's bring the line in. What that will do is give us, obviously we've got those values, but for all of them we now have to actually put it in order. That's cool. So we now have that all unioned back together. That's kind of cool. Okay. Yeah, so it should do it. Okay, and then what we can do is transpose it back from columns into rows. So we want the row to be the key, and then we want the column to be across the top and the value to be in it, or sum. Okay, so now let's just give us a browse on that. What have we got? So how does that compare? Pretty well. So here's one. Okay, so it is rounded. Okay, so this value is rounded. So you can we just make it an integer? Will that round it? So there you go. Okay, we've got 0. We've got 1. So something's gone wrong, awry with my row counters, but which is a bit strange. This one. So when it's unioned back in, done on position, so that should be in the column 3, and that's in column, oh right, it's taken this one. Okay, that's interesting. Let's undo that and see if we can fix that. So if we take that one in first, and then that one, see what we get. We'll just make this down here, but we can up. Okay, that's fixed. Fixed this then. Okay, we need to remove the last row. So right, let's change that and then just remove it if that equals -1, and then we can rename here row. I think that is going to fix it. No, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do does not equal. There we go. Right. There you go. Brilliant. Scroll down a bit. Just check we're still the same further down. Yeah, everything looks the same. There you go. Thank you very much for watching. See you again next time.